project manager and thank you. So he's a communication professional with over 15 years of experience, rich experience in digital technology and these sort of projects. And he works closely with business and technical teams. So with strong skills in stakeholder management, agile delivery, and he helps collaborate better teams to and deliver to results. Also, he's a mentor for startup, guiding founders on MVP product development and go-to-market plans and growth strategies. So I think his session can really help you to understand what is BMC. I'm sure a couple of you have already idea, but he will give a clear picture for that. So I'm sure this session is really helpful for all of us. And please make sure be attentive. आप लोगों को कोई भी क्वेरी है, any kind of question queries, please keep them with you and feel free to drop them either on the chat box or ask, but be a little interactive with him. So we've really got this opportunity to have interaction with Mr. Goel. So yeah, I think we should start now. Mr. Goel, over to you now.
Hi everyone. I hope that we should start now because it's going to be a almost 39 slide session. So, and I'll try to cover the complete BMC canvas, what we call as a canvas in business terms and language. So, let me just start sharing my screen. Give me a minute, please. Is my screen visible to you guys?
Not yet. Yes, we can see now.
Okay. Okay. I hope this is visible now.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, thank you for the introduction, Sarika. I'll just give a quick introduction of mine. And as you have rightly said, I'm a communications expert as well. I'm a that engineering background person with have done flavors of my taken for a lot of experience in with working with SMBs, small scale industries, startups particularly as well from India, abroad, multiple regions. My expertise is in the IT sector, particularly with the different industries. I have been awarded as the World Bank's India Development Marketplace 2004 by Dr. Kalam. So there's few of the things about me. Coming quickly on the topic of what we are going to do today is to have my uh, I'll try to make the whole business model canvas as a very easy thing for you so that you can understand and work out. In today's session, my idea will be to to give you the business side understanding of why it is important and how we can make it as an easy process, not complicating with the things. So what we'll cover today is the understanding of the canvas, what it is and why it matters. Deep dive into there are 9 elements of it. What are the 9 elements that we'll see? Then we'll cover the Indian startup case studies, some case studies where and how do they fit into this canvas. Some common pitfalls which we should avoid. Some tools and resources which you can go through them, and when we meet next in the workshop, you guys can be ready with that. Moving to the next slide. So, if we talk about a business model canvas, I'm pretty much sure there are a lot of people here who must be having an idea of what is the business model canvas. Uh, Anything anyone would like to share? What exactly is a business model canvas? Okay. So basically, a business model canvas is something, you know, which basically helps us to make the quick representation of a business. So the benefits are like, it can be completed into a quick 20 to 30 minutes. It will take not a lot of time. It can be easily developed into half an hour to 1 hour. It's basically an exercise which can be easily done within an hour. Uh, it's simple. There are only 9 key building blocks. No lot of 40, 50 pages of presentation which needs to be presented. Mostly the business model canvas is used by startups to pitch their business model to investors, key investors, or to look out for an equity partnerships and all. Flexible, of course, the business model is flexible. You can easily modify it because it's limited. It's more of a diagrammatic presentation of what you're trying to develop. And because there are limited number of building blocks which you can easily arrange the content into, so it's quite flexible. You can expand it. You can remove the things from it. And you can easily draw it into any kind of a situation, any kind of a tool. There are a lot of tools which I'll share. Visual, of course, because it's it is something which is into a single piece of image, so you can easily visualize it in as a one slide document. So that visual clarity is very important. So because it gives you a single piece of document which provides you end-to-end understanding of what the business is all about and how the business is going to make money. Because when you're talking about a business is something which the output is
நீங்கள்
profit.
அழைக்கும் நபர் உங்கள் காலை ஹோல்டில் வைத்துள்ளார் தயவு செய்து लाइनिल காத்திருக்கவும் आप जिस व्यक्ति से बात कर रहे हैं उन्होंने आपके कॉल को होल्ड पर रखा है कृपया लाइन पर बने रहिए
Call in
The
user
person you
two,
are speaking
please
with has put
mute
your
your
call
mic.
on hold. Please stay on the line. நீங்கள் அழைக்கும் நபர் உங்கள் காலை ஹோல்டில் வைத்துள்ளார் தயவு செய்து लाइनिल காத்திருக்கவும் आप जिस व्यक्ति से बात कर रहे हैं उन्होंने आपके कॉल को होल्ड पर रखा है कृपया लाइन पर बने रहिए The person you are
I
speaking
think
with
you can
has put your call on
mute
hold.
or remove the user for some time.
Sorry, I've muted him.
Okay. So strategic is very important because there are certain key elements, the building blocks of the BMC is basically to make a strategy. It forces you to think why you are doing this business, what is the outcome, what are the inputs required. So all of these are so we are going to go through all of these 9 building blocks in detail. But before I start, I'll just give you a glimpse of what how it looks like. So what you're seeing in front of in this particular slide is the BMC rough canvas. So there are 9 different building blocks which you can see, starting from the key partners, okay, the key activities and the key resources. So if we see this particular area, okay, is basically something into uh, just hold on. So these 3 areas, key partners, key activities, key resources, is uh, basically the input side. The value proposition is something which you are about to deliver. So this is something which creates, which makes you unique. So what are those USPs? What are those value propositions which you're going to have? And the third is the customer. What are the relationships where how you're going to do reach to a right customer. What will be the different segments of customers which you will have, you probably can serve to of somebody, if you go to any particular site, you can see they are freemium models. So people can freely register on those websites, but in some cases you have to pay to a subscription to get more services. And then there are different levels of services. So these are different segments of customers which are available. Okay. And then when you talk about relationships, when you're talking about how to reach those customers, there are different channels to reach them. Uh, Again, of course, whenever you are building a business, there is a cost structure which is required. Cost structure means that how much you are going to pay for particular resources, for particular activities, partners, and for even for the propositions, and the revenue streams which are connected with the propositions, the services which you're going to offer. So if we see it, the top seven different elements which are on the top side, except the cost and revenue. These seven elements are divided into the three parts. Okay, what are the three parts? So on the left, we can say the key partners, key activities, and key resources is part of the infrastructure. Okay, so that's your infrastructure. That is requirement basically, which you need to build what? To build an offering. Okay. So the value proposition is something which is called as an offering. You want to give this X service, Y service, Z service. So that is a value proposition. That's an offering which you're going to create. Okay. Using the infrastructure on the left. So you may have to partner with somebody, the key activities you want to do, you need certain resources for that. They make your infrastructure. The value propositions are the offerings which you're going to create. And on the right side of it is the customers, the people whom you're going to sell this value proposition. Okay. So this is how this whole representation works. Now, of course, to meet the right side, you have to create a cost structure. For each of the partners, for each of the activities, for each of the resources, there is some cost involved. So you need to map down those costs. You need to tell the system, you need to write down, or you can usually draw it, or you can create some Excel for this same thing. I'll give you some dashboards and samples where you can pick it up easily on the Google Slides on the end of the list once when we do it. So you can use those templates as basically a structure where you can start entering your data into it. Think about it for partner one, what is the cost coming up? Partner two, cost coming up. Activity, if I have to do this, then yeah, I'll have to add this cost. I'll put into this cost. So this is basically a brainstorm. What is happening here? So you are putting up all the costs into the cost structure. You're putting up and then what on the left side you see the gray side is the cost, and then you are creating a value out of it. Now, when you have a value, you're going to sell it to the customer segment. So for each proposition, you will expect certain amount of revenue coming. So what will be that revenue and what will be the stream? So you can say, okay, from the stream one, let's say proposition one, I'll get a stream one of revenue, which will be like 100 rupees per month per user or 500 rupees per month per user and kind of. And then you can divide your different segments, divide different propositions and relationships like that. So this is a very basic understanding of it. Now we'll dive deeper into the whole BMC model. So there are three factors which are why, which is why it makes it very important for the BMC to have to is something to start with, particularly in case of startups. It gives you a focus. So there can be 100 or maybe 1,000 things which can keep you uh, divided, or diversions can be there when you start thinking about a business, but it will keep you focused about on what is required, what is going to be offered, and who are my customers. So that's the whole everything, the jigs of a complete business model. Now, when you talk about the clarity, it also helps you to understand how much money is going to be involved and how much the earning, how much revenue, how much profit you are going to make. So that clarity is also required because, as I said, that business is something where you should be very much clear about the input and the output. And the third is speed. So, without wasting time, there are certain 9 aspects of business which you need to figure it out and to fill it into this model. And then you can easily understand that how this whole business is going to work out. So you don't need to make multiple huge meetings and iterate and thing. You can, sit with your friends or co-founders and easily develop this. So this is the importance of why a BMC is required. So as I shared that, there are 9 building blocks. We'll start from the left side. So left side is key resources, key activities, and key partnerships. Right side is customer segments, value propositions, channels, customer relationships, revenue streams, and the bottom is the cost structure. So cost structure means that how much is the intake and how much we are going to make as a revenue streams. Any questions till now? Anyone who wants to ask anything can raise their hand in between. The presentation is going on. Okay, so let's start from the element one, which is customer segment, because I'm starting from the right side because it is very important to understand first, to whom we are going to sell the thing. Because if my customer segment is, if I'm more clear about the segment and who is my customer and what I'm going to, who will be the person who is going to buy my service. If I understand that area better, then I can make my service side better. Then I can make, it's like a reverse engineering which we need to do. Okay. So because if you have to first think about from the perspective of a customer, if the customer side is clear, then you can do the reverse engineering about the USPs. And from the USPs, you can get an idea of what exactly the input is required. Okay. So who are your customers and what do you think they feel, see, and do? Define the specific customer personas. So you need to define specific personas. See, whenever you are making any, and we'll understand this whole thing from the case studies as well. And we'll go through all the case studies where we can see what exactly is a customer persona is and how we can define this. And I'll just see if I have the case study as well for you. Okay. Okay, so I'll just take on the case studies. I have 4 or 5 case studies as well, but I'll take them by end of it so that once we are clear with the whole thing, because the case studies will we don't have to go to and fro. So basically, the customer persona is somebody who a person who is actually interested in your services or in the product or in the uh, end device, something which you are developing. What that person is, why he would be interested, what will be the attributes of that person. Okay, when you're talking about the persona, it can be like male or female. If you're developing let's say a nail paint, it's definitely something which is more of a female's particular intrinsic. So your 90% demographic and the 90% customer persona will be the female of a certain age. So you need to see, the region. When we talk about the persona, it includes demographics like behaviors, uh, males, females, genders, and or it can be for all gender, but for the different age groups. So who can be the age groups of your particular persona? So basically, to understand who is the user and how you can define your user, how you can brilliantly map out the attributes of that user in terms of the region, in terms of demographics, in terms of behavior, in terms of a pain point that, okay, there are a lot of my college friends, they feel this as a pain problem. And how many of them are feeling this? So like, like maybe 70% of people feel this as an issue. So that's a pain area. That's a customer segment, basically. So you can reverse engineer a product around that pain area. And this becomes more important when when you probably start from one single product, but when you have to grow as a company, you need to develop multiple products. So you need to understand the different pain areas. You may develop a solution today for a single pain area, but then you will have to address the other pain areas as well for that particular persona, for the particular segment of the customer. So there are some example here, which is like Swiggy. I've taken as an example. Uh, Swiggy or Zomato, Swiggy, you can think, it's the same business. So they target busy professionals, students, working mothers, basically the uh, not just an urban customer, but today Swiggy and Zomato are targeting suburban areas as well, uh, because as the number of restaurants, as the cloud kitchens are growing, the pattern is becoming more, useful. So this is the targets are, as I said, that the pain areas, they become more and more uh, developed. So when it comes to the marketing, they talk about, they create a communication around professionals. They talk about the pain areas of professionals. They talk about pain areas of students. They talk about working mothers. Okay, so there are different communication by this that they market it. तो स्विगी आपको मैसेज भेज सकता है, like uh, uh, maybe that, why to chill out on this weekend with your family. Okay. So it talks about a different pain areas, like, because we all are very busy in our daily lives there, and family can have and everyone wants to have a chilling weekend with the family. So, why to put a time into cooking and all? Why to not to chill with the family? So there's a pain area which, which Swiggy and Zomato is targeting. So they're for different. You might have heard about it, like, for every brand, like Coca-Cola, they have different visuals. Coca-Cola, Pepsi. So Coke has a different visual. When they are one of the visual, they talk about, when it's too hot, they'll talk about the thanda matlab Coca-Cola. So they connect the pain area. Okay, and they connect it so well that probably, when somebody says thanda, so you can one can easily answer matlab Coca-Cola. So that is something which is very important when it comes from the marketing perspective as well. So you need to understand what is the right pain area so that you can develop a right product around that pain area. So the next element is value proposition. Now, the first thing what we have done is the customer segmentation, where we have understood what is the pain area of that customer, how that segment reacts to what is the age group, what is the behavior, and the region from that particular segment comes from. Now, when that happens, what you need to now develop is to have value proposition. So you have an idea. Now, around that idea, you create a value proposition, that how your solution is going to benefit, or how your solution, what is the USP of your solution, that unique selling points, that what makes your solution different for that particular customer segment. What unique value do you deliver for that particular segment of customers, and why somebody should choose you and not anybody else as a competitor. So that's a value proposition which you need to create. And for each customer, okay, now each of you might be having, knowing, Google offers different services. And now Google AI is there, Gemini. So you have a free account of Gmail which you can create, and you can use Gemini for free, but there are limitations into it. Now there is a pro account, and then there is another account which is above pro ultra account. So, and the cost difference variation is really big. The pro account, you probably will have to pay a couple of thousands per month, and for the ultra account, you probably would need to pay $200 kinds per month. So that is something, a very vast difference from, somebody who's paying nothing and somebody who has to pay $200 a month, because that there's a difference between the user segmentation, and there's a difference between the value proposition. If you want to use more of AI, more, automations, then you can go, somebody who's using full-time automation probably would go for an ultra one. Somebody who has a mediate level of requirements can, maybe the pro account is good for him, and somebody, who's using the AI and automation once in a while can probably go be on a free plan. So basically, there are different segments, and you have a different value proposition for different segments here. Okay, so you need to create different value propositions, different USPs as per the segment, and it is also okay for a startup to have a single segment and value propositions and USPs for that particular segment. Okay, so it's not required. So if you see earlier in days when Google started the Gmail as a service or Hotmail was started, they were free services. There was no paid plan, nothing like that. Okay, which is also a fine and good model to work upon. Okay, so and in those days the idea was to earn from more of our advertising. So the, uh, at that time, Google only had one particular customer segment which they define, and they define the USPs as per that, and which is they were not multiple segments, multiple different USPs for each segment and all. It was not needed, so they only made one single service with all those propositions, and they reversely worked back onto that model and created the Gmail as a service, which was free for all. Okay, and after a lot of years, they after basically a year or two, they started the free service for the small businesses as well. That's how they got more propulsion into their whole ecosystem of Gmail. So and of course when you are defining these value propositions, you need to be specific. What makes you different is very important, because that is your unique selling point, that your USP. And now when I the example is phone pay. Like phone pay, there were already a lot of players before phone pay into the same ecosystem. If you know, the Paytm was there. Okay, but what exactly PhonePe focused on? So the PhonePe mechanism was, instant, the speed. So the other mechanisms which were available there were a little bit slow, were taking some time in the whole processing, like 10, 15 seconds. But PhonePe was quite instant. You just scan it and pay. So that was the thing which made PhonePe, go ahead and compete with the in a space where there were already some major competitors were there. And of course the cashless payments using just a mobile number, the UPI thing which was already there. But the major difference was the instant feature, the speed, the because the lot of other if I remember, the Paytm and other players were also there, but they were not able to deliver the quick speed, because in single time the scan was not happening. There were a lot of other issues as well. So later on the other platforms also picked that thing, and they worked upon their own technology, and they made the same thing better. So, guys, any question, anything we have studied, we have learned about two different elements. The first is the customer segment. The second is the value proposition and its importance. Now I'm coming to the third element, which is channels. Anything, any question which you want to ask till now, please go ahead or raise your hands. Guys, anyone would like to answer or question? Sorry, question. Okay, so the third element is channels. So channel is basically the pathways from how we can reach to your customer. So maybe you need to advertise, you need to probably give an advertisement. Earlier days, of course, that was the only way. There you can publish in newspapers or television. Different media channels are available. So how you're going to reach your customer and how they can buy your product or service, and they can get the support. So these are the basically the connections. These are basically the pathways which using which you can connect with a customer. So there are a lot of you might be aware of the customer support as a channel system, which is now available on WhatsApp, on uh, the call centers are there now. It's the WhatsApp system is there, so you can have. But channel system, this the customer support system is not only customer support system. If you see, it is also a system to create and maintain the customer relationship and to upsell the other services. Okay, so if you have a very strong system where you can manage your customer, You probably can, if you are a service industry, one can use the CRM systems. Not just the service industry, almost every industry use a customer relationship management system. You know, sending emails on regular basis, connecting with them, and but this is something which is a continuous support, continuous communication. But on the first thing is to reach to a customer. So if you're into a digital business, there are different ways of reaching to a customer, which can be, advertising using different platforms like Google Ads and all. You can run ads on Meta, like Instagram ads or Meta ads for the reaching through Instagram and Facebook. You can run ads through Google, where you can have, YouTube ads. There are a lot of properties owned by Google, like YouTube, Google Search. You can run your all ads, all of these properties. Google, and you can also run ads on different. There are different ad networks through which you can run ads. You can run ads on any publisher websites like Times of India, news channels. So they are advertising in itself is one of the channels. You can do it digitally. You can do it print. You can also, in case if you are any particular product developer, as in developing an IoT service or a physical product, uh, go to you can again see what is your target, your customer segment, what kind of channel your customer segment is connected with. Okay, so you need to first understand where your customer segment, if you understand your customer segment in a very right way, then you can understand the channel where that particular customer can go to. You know, so what are different channels being used by that customer? So you need to understand that, and to understand that, you will again go back to the element one, which is the customer segment. So which is why I said it's a reverse model. Okay, so you need when we why we need to start with customer segment, because that gives answers to everything else. So think through the entire customer journey. You need to understand what is your customer journey. So if you understand your customer better, then you can connect, you can understand the journey, how you can, and then you can understand what are the channels where you can, take the attention, interest, purchase, and support. So you WhatsApp is is available with everyone. That WhatsApp is one of the mediums. So what are the different medias through which you can reach your customer, and where exactly is your customer? From where you can get that data is, of course, all of these are the different questions which you need to ask yourself. Okay, and there can be different channels for different segments. Why? Because one of the particular segment will be using, the people who are using more Instagram and less Facebook, and then there are certain people of a particular age who use more of a Facebook and less Instagram. So there is a disconnect. So you can find certain segmentations. So you can, that is why it is important that you need to understand your segment and then understand the channel for that particular segment. And once the channel is clear, then you have to understand, okay, what this particular user is going to do into this in this channel, and how you can use that channel. So it can be like Instagram or Meta ads or Google search. So there can be a lot of businesses where Google search is more important than the Meta. So, for example, in a B2B business, where you are developing a solution for a business, not for a retail purpose. So, in that case, your customer is not somebody who is spending leisure time on Instagram. Okay, your customer is somebody who is a purchase manager in a particular company, and he wants to buy a solution which you are selling. So you probably in that case need to advertise on our platforms like India Mart or Google Search, where that particular person can search for that kind of a solution. So, or maybe into a magazine, which is important. So the needs depend upon what is your what market segment or a customer segment is, and that will define the right channel. Okay. Any questions? Any questions, guys? Okay. So now the next element is customer relationships. Now, customer relationships is something where we need to understand, how you are going to approach that customer. What? you're going to offer to that customer and what is the communication. So so basically what you're going to communicate is interact with the customer. Do you have a dedicated support, somebody who is going to call out to that customer, or is it a self-service model or a community model? Maybe in a lot of open source development, it's a community which talks to each other and develop that product further. So what is the level of communication, how you're going to manage that communication, how you're going to reach and utilize, what are you going to communicate to that particular customer, what is the value proposition you are going to give to that customer, and what is the channel you are going to use for that. So, and will it be personal, automated, using emails, you can send bulk emails to the right data, but for that you need to have a right data of right people of your customer segment. You and then you can collect that right data using different methods, okay, which you can just brainstorm. Maybe you can go to a workshop physically and collect data, asking people. You can show, you can tell them that okay, I do this. You can. There are a lot of companies who sponsor the different workshops which are into the B2B labels. Why? Because they collect data from there for the right audience. So there are different ways of collecting creating a channel, understanding that channel, and using it. And then there is a right communication as well, which is also required. Because right communication will build a right relationship. Okay. So what kind of relationship you are creating with that particular person? What value proposition you are going to give? So let's say if there is if you think of Swiggy and Zomato, we'll just talk about, cheap food, quick food, but they don't talk about fine dining as such. Because fine dining is something which you can't give online. Okay. So that is something which you can only experience. So if Swiggy and Zomato will talk about fine dining delivered at home, nobody will be interested, and people will make fun of them. So it's not, you need to be very much focused on what you're communicating with your customers. So that is why the customer relationship and how you're managing and communicating what you're communicating is very important. Now, for example, and for Razorpay, a self-service dashboard and dedicated support for enterprise clients is always there. Now, self-service dashboard means the dashboard which is there where the user can do everything, but then there is a dedicated support as well. So if there is something which they are not able to do and they are not able to understand, then there is a dedicated support for the enterprise client. So these are two different areas. Now, every customer is not getting a dedicated support. Only the ones who are enterprise clients are getting the dedicated support. So only self-service dashboard is something where which is given to every customer. But then so this is also a classification which which one can understand. Like in a lot of companies, what they do, they give you some basic dashboard if you are a free user. But if you are a paid user, they give you okay, you'll get 5x more elements, more help, more FAQs, a community to access to, and a live chat support to help you out, sort out that issue. And then here in the case of Razorpay, they have enterprise clients where they get, they assign a person altogether as a dedicated support so that the customer relationship is intact. So that if anywhere that particular client is facing any issue with the system, the dedicated support can help out and reach out to the particular client and give them the live support on that issue. The next element is revenue streams. Now, again, as I said, that the importance of the customer segmentation is very important thing. That is the key thing. And the second key thing here, as per my understanding, is the revenue stream. Of course, the all nine elements are most important, absolutely important. But in terms of money, revenue streams is very important as well, because this is something which breaks or make any startup into a, you can call as a unicorn or megacorn or whatever. If your revenue stream, the numbers are not right, if your pricing model is not right, you may be selling gold, but nobody is going to come and buy it. Okay. So that is very important, and equally important to understand that how you're pricing your thing. So there are different models how you price your service. Okay. And it is very important and very a subject which is which uh, goes into a lot of depth in upcoming sessions which I have scheduled. I'll be talking about the pricing model, how one can price them, and there are different ways of doing it. So we can take those later on once we will be doing it. So pricing your model is very important. What will be the revenue streams? If you have, let's say, three-tier model or four-tier services, what will be the different costs for those tires? You may be giving the base tire as free of cost. They can be there mostly when it comes to the online thing. There are subscription-based models where there is a flat subscription fee. There's a commission-based model. There's a freemium model. There's a licensing model or transaction fees. Now, these are mostly the models which I'm sharing here is based on the IT and the web-based services and the web-based models or web softwares. But for the physical products, these things can be different, and that basically, in that case, it definitely is a product segment, which in itself there are different fees. There maybe the sizes, maybe the outputs, which define the So there can be like a number of factors which will define your pricing. So that pricing in itself is a very, very important thing which can make or break any business. So you need to understand that you have to have a right pricing for the right uh, customer segmentation. Next is so the example here. What we can see is how Swiggy earns. So Swiggy basically have different revenue streams. One is, or you can when I'm saying Swiggy, it's equivalent for Zomato as well. So they have a commission for which comes from restaurants. They say they charge certain commission from restaurants. They have a subscription fee as well, which you can say, where Zomato has Zomato Gold, so Swiggy has Swiggy One, which is a subscription where they don't charge any delivery fee for certain kilometers. And then they have ad revenue. So if you go to their app, then they run some ads as well, and they charge those companies to run the ads because everyone is using the it's a simple model because they have an audience which is you and me. So we are using Swiggy or Zomato and we are a regular user. So they show this data to the publishers, and the publishers, because they know that, okay, they want to reach to the people, the customer segments who are spending good enough money online. And if that matches to their revenue model, and all the e-commerce companies or anybody who's selling stuff online can uh, is a right choice to advertise as a publisher on Swiggy or Zomato. Okay, so that's how there's a three different revenue streams which you can see right now, and then they keep on adding. There are a lot of new streams which Zomato has added up in the last 1 or 2 years. Like they also now do some ticketing as well. Probably they have an app which is called as a diner, a district. Sorry, Zomato district. So through which they book the events. There people can create events, or you can buy tickets for events. So that's again a separate model, which So basically, once you have an understanding for every pain area, you can create a product. Okay, so that's how it works. Like. Anyone, if you are feeling, because it's like I'm not getting any questions, so which is why uh, I'm quite surprised because I am looking for a lot of questions to be answered as well. So let's make this a little bit interactive, guys. So anyone has any kind of a question for whatever we have studied yet, learned or anything which they have in real life, they want to question something, please do. Yeah, the dais is open. They can always ask. No questions, guys? So I'm moving to the next element, which is a key resources. Now, what is a key resource? Any idea? Anyone? You guys can read it and let me know as well. But in terms of, by the way, how many of these 34, I guess 30 people are there except the organizers, right, Sarika?
Sorry, you're asking something?
Yeah, I'm asking that I guess there are 34, 33 participants
Hmm.
here. So probably, I guess 30 people are the students or
Yes,
participants.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
The list is including our, staff, NASCOM Foundation staff also.
Yeah. So, what I'm expecting out of these students is one thing what I want to know as well is this that
Mhm.
how many of them are aspiring startups or, so that
So
we
all
have
of
good
these
understanding.
teams, these are all of those teams who have promoted from the prototype to startup stage. So they almost like they're ready in the prototype. They are in process. Their prototype is in process,
Okay.
or they are, yeah, startup ready. I guess believe most of them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, my question is very open here that guys, do you know that how many startups actually live to the real world scenario? Any idea?
Students, if you have any answers or any remarks, so you can share with Mr. Goel.
Anyone
Uh,
here?
so I guess the percentage is very less when it comes to those who leap to the fullest because when people starts it's like with full enthusiasm and lot many ideas they will jump in but
Yeah.
the survival rate is very low, probably 10% of them survives.
No, it's even less than 1% actually,
Okay.
which is very harsh reality. Right. And that even that 1% basically is something which I'm talking about in the 5 years of phase. Okay. So 90% die in the year one, and rest of the out of the 10%, the 90% die in till year five. Only 1% survival rate is there. So by the year five, the enterprise 99 enterprise die out of 100. Okay. So, and why that happens? Because the basics is not into the place. And we are right now discussing those basics only because this is going to be your product is nothing. I'm telling you, your product is only 30 to 40% of the whole business. It's more about because either you are inventing something which is like a time bomb or like atomic bomb, which again is not is something which later on got copied into different company by different nations and almost uh, like 10 nations to 15 nations now have that technology. The point is uh, anything in the world can be copied or recreated, but what makes a business successful is not that product but the execution. Okay. So it's more of important thing is how you are going to execute a particular business model. So what we are thinking and doing here is basically to have that same execution understanding of the business. So which is why I need participation from you guys because if you have passed that journey, you have come to this phase of startup. So you should be very attentive and understanding and asking questions because if you're not going, you're not asking anything, that I feel that you probably are not grabbing what I'm trying to convey and communicate. So, Divya, you have rightly said that 10% is not even 1%, and that percentage is slightly better in the countries like US, where the startup ecosystem is very at a very nice level, at a very organized level. And but again, and when it comes to India, we don't have that good level of startup ecosystem yet. Uh, we do have a lot of benefits, and things are being happening in last 4 or 5 years. But still, we have a long way to go. But what actually can keep you uh, sustain as a startup is something these particular 9 elements will. And then there will be, right now we are just giving an overview of it. We are taking an overview of all these 9 elements, but each of this element is a subject in itself. It's a vast subject in itself, believe me. So please pay some, attention, and ask me questions wherever you feel. So let it be. You can ask me anything related to your business model as well. Don't worry about it. I'll definitely, give you a satisfactory answer. Even if I can't give you an answer, I'll tell you some or the other way from which you can help you out to to look into that matter. So please be open to the dialogue, and please communicate more. I love for looking for more interactions happening here.
Sure.
Okay, so when we talk about the key resources, so the resource is basically the material, the infra, basically what you need to develop maybe the product, maybe the so resources can be anything. Resources can be people. If it's an IT project, it can be people, it can be hardware, it can be a lot of things. So it can be an intellectual resource, it can be a physical resource, human resource. So everything where whatever you need to build a product is basically a key resource. Okay, or a product or a service. So whatever you are delivering, you need some input for that. So that input is basically that key resource. It can be in a physical form, like an infrastructure. You may somebody can, if someone is opening a data center, so the infrastructure in terms of the piece of land and the hardware and everything, that there will be machineries requiring so that no electricity losses there, a continuous supply, and everything is required. So that all becomes part of a infrastructure which is there. So there can be physical infrastructure required, there can be an intellectual infrastructure required. So if you are developing something, and it is something which you have developed, you have invented something, then the patents are very important intellectual resources, because if you don't have patent, you won't be able to you know keep that technology up to you only, and you will lose it to a competitor within some time of launching it. So whether you have got the tech patented or not, if you have that patent, whether it is rightly filed or not, you have got an approval. So there are a lot of things. So IPR is something which is very important, particularly in the cases where the innovation and is happening, any kind of a invention is happening. Okay, even in the case of innovation is happening, where particularly IoT or a physical product, uh, patents are very important. And then there's a brand which you need to, if you're launching a brand, then you need to do the trademark registrations, the registries, so that nobody can just copy your brand and create a similar brand like that. So that also is a problem. Technology platform is something which is also a requirement in terms of the key resources, which particular technology you are going to work on, if you're whether you're working on a technology which is obsolete or not. So all these things needs to be taken care of. In terms of human resources, you need to hire engineers or experts, have an experienced team. You also need to have somebody who can, you may be requiring an HR as well, in case, or these are the different roles. one initially in the startups, one person can play multiple roles. That is okay. But you should be knowing that okay, I need somebody who can keep hiring. So that's a role of an HR. And who is going to play that role? You yourself can play that role as a co-founder. That's perfectly fine. That's not a problem. Okay. But you need to know, you need to write down, okay, I lead an HR, I lead an admin, an admin will be required. So today you may be playing different hats, but tomorrow you'll have to hire people so that once the business reaches to that level, once the requirements reach to that level, you can just designate the right person on the job. Okay. So let's see an example here, like a Dunzo. Dunzo, you probably all know, is an app, quick e-com delivery app, and they have a delivery network first of all. Okay, and then there's a logistics app. They have created an app which one can use to book, and then they are customers. So they have a trust with customers because they have delivered on time. So that trust comes with the delivery part. What you're the product part, how much you're delivering, what you're delivering, whether the product is good or not, whether you're delivering within timelines or not, what is the service level, your SLA, how you are uh, uh, supporting your customer. Let's say the order is delayed, then whether do you have an online support, some you have a call-based support, or is an automated support, whether the person is getting the right answer for that also or not. That is very important. So you need to have all these things in place. So the key resources is something which is basically anything which is an input which is required to create the product or service. Now comes the key activities, which is a seventh element. Key activities is something where if we see what all we have to do. So the a physical product or a patent is there. You'd also need people, but how many people will be required for product development? Who will do the operations? Who will handle marketing for sales and support? So these are different divisions. These are different activities. So from product manufacturing to product sales, there are different divisions which are there. Okay. So that is the product designing. Product designing in itself, let's say somebody, if you're into the automobile industry, then the product designing itself is a first step. Okay. So that which may be a part of product development may not be a part of product development. So let's say that part of product development. So you have to design a prototype. When you're talking about the development, that's a part of one team. Then there's it operations. Operations is basically a team which takes care of, okay, everything is in place. So HR is also part of operations. Okay, you need money, we'll arrange the money. You need people, we'll arrange the people. So whatever key resources are required, it's operations team manages that. That all the key resources are in place. Then there's a marketing team which writes all the key communication, how the customer satisfaction has to be maintained. Then there's a sales team, which is basically an outreach team. क्या communication देना है to the end client, to the end customer? What exactly, how we have to reach to that customer, and what exactly we have to pitch to that customer so the sales converts, and then following up with that customer. And once the sale is done, when the customer is there in place, how we are going to keep the support up, so that that trust of the customer is not broken. That the customer keeps that trust in us, and that they keep using us as a service provider or as somebody who is selling the product. So these all are the areas which you need to understand they are the key activities of any business. Okay, and directly support of for a value proposition. So whether your product development should be very clear that what is the USPs. Your operations should be very clear that what are my USPs. Your marketing should be very clear of what are the product USPs, because for everything here is basically an input which is going to create the right product USPs. For the right product USPs, you need all of these activities: the development, the operations, the marketing team, the sales team, the support team. Everything is required, but the centric part is your value proposition, the key offering which you're going to develop and promote and sell. So let's take an example of cred. So the cred has a value proposition where they talk about uh, instant payments and for the cards and for bill payments, and they reward it. So rewarding credit card bill payments, and they do it by using gamifications. You can just keep on playing. It's quite uh, sticky thing, quite you get used to it. You start keep on playing because it's in the old fashioned, you know, uh, gaming machines kind that when they give you rewards, and then you can keep playing and use those rewards. And then they have a partnerships with different companies where you can utilize those coins, those rewarding credits, basically to buy different stuff on discount. So uh, so basically, you're not, yeah, it looks like, the CRAD is not charging anything, but CRAD has created their own mega base of customers, of audience to whom they can sell services and earn commission. So that's what the model of CRAD is. Okay. Now, the next element is key partnership. Partnerships. So key partnerships is something where which is again important. Why? Because uh, you need to know that if you have to work on something, then you need to have right vendors. So for example, if you are developing a product and which requires a particular grade of steel, and if that grade of steel is not available, you cannot develop a product. For example, if we know in couple of recent years, 1 or 2 years, if you see the stock of NVIDIA, which is a chip manufacturer, has gone up drastically, like 200, 300%. Why? Because NVIDIA is the manufactures the chips which are mostly used for the AI based LLMs, different AI machines in the AI infrastructure. So there was a huge demand of NVIDIA IA chips because it used to perform in a very much advanced way than any other vendor. So the uh, you know what if today if NVIDIA says, okay, I'm not going to provide my chips to any one particular service provider, that becomes a problem. So you need to maintain your partnerships with the vendors. You need to maintain your partnerships with other, not just physical requirements can be there. There can be a lot of software-based requirements. Sometimes there are a lot of like in this particular example, there is a phone pay example which you can say, not just phone pay, for pay in case of Paytm as well, Bharat Pay as well. All of these have a back-end partnerships with different banks. So PhonePe is not a bank. Okay, PhonePe is not a bank in itself. PhonePe is a mediator. It's an app which works as a layer between a bank and a customer. Okay. So, and what does PhonePe do is PhonePe gives certain services which a user can use, but in the back end, because the guidelines are there of the RBI. Okay, so the whole process of banking has to be done through a bank only. So that bank partnerships PhonePe has is through ICICI, HDFC, SBI. It offers the UPI to its users through an ICICI or HDFC or SBI. Okay, the backend side of it, which is not visible to you, is being handled by one of the banks. So it's always a bank behind any kind of fintech app. Okay. And then there's an integration which they have done with Flipkart. There are payment gateways which they have integrated with. So you can buy stuff from the app itself, and you can start investing as well nowadays. So there are different apps which you can use for investments as well. There's an app which is called as IND Money, which is using which you can invest in US stocks. So there are different apps like that, but none of these apps they cannot work, individually in themselves. They need partnerships with banks or with certain different vendors. Okay, Similarly, whichever business model you are developing, you will requiring a strong partnership with one of the key uh, system provider, or if there is nothing which you need, you are developing absolutely a software. Just think about it. Okay, you can say, I am only developing a piece of software. What kind of partnership is required? So in that case, you probably need a partnership uh, in terms of, if it is only you, or a co-founder which is there, or maybe a licensing company which is required, or you may be developing a module for a major company. So depending upon the different models which are there, different solutions which you may be requiring, there can be key partnerships which you will be doing. Okay. So coming to the cost structure, which is the ninth element and the final element in this whole uh, business model canvas. The cost structure is something where, which is basically, if because we have done the reverse engineering of the whole thing. So cost structure is now as important as the pricing model. Why? Because if you are selling something at 100 rupees, your cost cannot be 100 or even 99. Because if your cost structure means that 99 cost will have, so cost structure is basically the cost of key resources and key activities and key partnerships. The cost which is required for key activities and key resources, and even in certain cases for key partnerships, the cost is required. Okay. So all those costs, the salaries of a strand infrastructure, they can be variable costs. So the cost basically is divided into two parts: fixed and variable. And fixed cost is salaries. You can't, you have to give salaries to people. You have to pay office rent, of course. You have to pay for the infrastructure what you are using. And then there comes the variable cost, which is basically the payment processing cost, the delivery fee, customer acquisition, marketing. All of these are variable costs. Advertising. Okay. So these are the variable costs which you have when one has to pay. So these costs are linking back to key activities and key resources. So your activities and resources, they bear certain cost for themselves. Okay. In some cases, it is key partnerships as well, which require certain costs to bear. So all of these costs will be divided into the fixed cost and variable cost, and together they will be called as a costing, which is coming for your product. Okay. So if the costing, your overall costing is coming 99 and you're selling at 1, so basically you are only selling at a 1% profit. Now, depending upon the complete setup and pricing, as I said, that pricing in itself is a very important thing and needs a lot of thought processes. Pricing also involves basically, you cannot define a pricing without understanding the market and what's happening in the market. That will be making fool out of yourself. So basically, cost structure is very important to see, and then we go again back into the scenario to see what is the pricing, what we need to keep. And for the pricing, we have to see different things, like how much your competitors are selling for, and external factors as well. And based on all those factors, you come to and decide a pricing, which is basically fine for all of the people involved. So basically, how you can kill a competition, how you can do the marketing, all the costs. Your cost structure should be covering all the costs, coming linking back to the key activities and resources. So which is why it is important. So there's an example which I'm giving you here. Is a Swiggy can have a delivery fleet cost. The people. So delivery fleet cost includes cost of a vehicle, cost of a fuel, cost of a human, the driver, and the bag and all everything. Restaurant commissions, which the commissions one has to pay to the restaurant. Okay, or sometimes restaurants buy back certain so whatever kind of a situation is there, so he may be taking certain commissions from restaurant. Okay, and how much is that? And marketing spend. So marketing, what is the spend on the marketing? So there can be different costs into the different, coming into the different structures. variables and fixed, and how you have to reverse engineer and calculate all those costs to understand what is happening in my cost structure. And you please make sure your cost structure is absolutely clear. Make sure that you are, if you think that, okay, the cost may be 1 rupee, try to put 1.1, 10% extra, so that tomorrow, if required, you are not going to, worry about that whether there are certain overheads involved or not. Okay. Because if somebody is putting money into your venture, you cannot ask money again and again. You will only get one time to ask that money, and once it's, you have spent it, you have spent it. So these are the 9 elements. I'll move ahead with uh, further with the different case studies. Okay, and we're going through the different case studies now. Any questions before that?
No.
Students, as I told you earlier also, please feel free to ask questions if you have in case of any queries or something. Or if at least no, so just drop a no to chat box.
So, Anurag, Anvesh, Bhavyashri, Daksh, Deepa, Dharinesh, Divya is already being active here. Uh, Govardhan, Harsh, Jayakrishna, Justin, Kanishka. I'm just taking names so that I'm pretty much sure that they are there. It's not just that they are attending it for the sake of attending it. Kedar, Anuradha, Sivahari, Sridharshan, Delhi Krishnan, Koel, Naresh, Raj. Guys, please at least just say that no questions, no further questions are there. I'll move on. Okay. Naresh Raj, Sadurtika, Siddesh, Shri Priya, Sujay Kumar, Sukant, Rohit Krishan, Vikash. So no further questions. No, everything is crystal clear. Okay. Okay. So let me move to the next slide. So how this all connects? What are the different elements? These 9 elements. How do they connect with each other in the business model canvas? So your customer segment, from where we started, and the value propositions are your core. What you sell, solve, and for whom, as I said. So basically, what exactly you are doing and for whom you are doing it. What is the pain area which you are solving, and whose pain area you are solving. Okay. So that is these two different elements. They are the starting point. The next comes is the channels and relationships and revenue, which is basically your delivery points. Okay. How you will reach and how you will monetize the proposition which you have. Okay. What will be the communication you will be giving? So this is part of the operations, the marketing, the sales, okay, and support teams. And then comes the resources, activities, and partnerships, which is basically infrastructure, the input, you know, uh, people, the resources like people, the resources like intellectual resources, the resources which are physical resources, okay, the activities which are going to do under them, the different, of course, the different marketing and sales are the activities, but using the channels when we are saying the channels and relationships, what we are talking about above is basically the different channels like the media relationships, what we are going to have. Okay. So the media relationships is something where, which different medias we'll be using to reach the people, different advertising models which we can use to reach to different people. It can be search engine optimization, it can be ads running on Google, it can be meta ads. What are the different values and relationships what we can create and how we can do that? Okay. And in activities, we are talking about basically having those different departments in place, because these all three things, resources, activities, and partnerships are your cost. Okay. So these are costs. Partnerships as infrastructure, how you will operate. And cost structure is basically the sum of costs involved for resources, activities, and partnerships. Okay. So that's the ninth element of this whole model. Any questions? Please do ask. So now I'm coming to the case study, and we'll quickly go through 5, 6 different case studies. Okay. So there's a case study. We have given examples earlier as well for Swiggy, the food delivery revolution, and of course Zomato is earlier one before Swiggy, but we have just taken the Swiggy one for some reasons here. Started in Bangalore with 25 restaurants, now in 500 cities. Unique value. Okay, what is the unique value? The full stack delivery, not just tech. So they have a full stack delivery. Okay, speed, full stack delivery, as in they have the complete platform plus their own system. Now even Zomato has that in a lot of places. Key insight is own logistics, better quality control, faster delivery. Because they have logistics which are owned by them, okay, there is a better quality control and faster delivery, which is a winning differentiation. And what is a pivot? The key differentiator. The Swiggy Instamart is basically they created new, uh, you know, new areas of development growth, and they created a Swiggy Instamart. So now Swiggy is more into the Instamart, which is a new business, the grocery delivery business, which they have. They have cloud kitchens, and they have a hyper local product as well, which they call it a Swiggy Genie. Okay, so they have this now. They are Swiggy is more of a Swiggy Instamart now. So they converted the basic food delivery stuff into the Swiggy Instamart. So that's how the product keeps on evolving as per the requirement. It's not that something you have developed something and you stick to that only, whether the market is moving with that product or not. So you need to keep on evolve with your this business model canvas can be one thing which you make today, but it can be different for tomorrow. It can change, and it's good that you are changing it, because that means that you understand that the things are changing and evolving in the market as well. So which is why you need to take the live updates from the market as well and keep on updating this BMC. The best thing is that you sit with your co-founders and update this BMC every month. Okay, till your product is ready. At least once in a month, you should develop this BMC and make sure that you are on the right path. So this, of course, customer segments, busy professionals, so students, families, and all. Value proposition is 30-minute delivery, which has been reduced by a lot of to 20 minutes, 15 minutes in certain cases. Revenue streams, commissions to 25 to 30%, subscriptions and ads. That is how they earn money. Coming to phone pay, making digital payments ubiquitous is what the statement was. They launched in 2015. Problem was digital payments were complex, multiple apps needed. So phone pay connected different accounts. That was the first thing they did. Okay. So one app for all payment needs using UPI infrastructure. That was the solution. A key insight was leveraged existing UPI infrastructure. So they did not ask you to create a new UPI model. They said that, okay, you have a UPI, then use that UPI. Okay. Which was faster to market. Expansion was insurance, mutual funds, lending, business payments. Now you can do all of this using the same app. Scale is 6.5 billion plus transactions processed. That's the data of March 2024. So, PhonePe and Paytm are the two apps which, in terms of reach of users, they are almost first and second. So if we divide and see the key resources, so in terms of the PhonePe, the key resources were UPI infrastructure, mobile platform, bank partnerships. That was a key resource which was required. Key activities which they were doing were platform development, fraud detection, merchant onboarding. They were the key activities which they were doing. Okay, because without merchant onboarding, people won't be able to pay. Whom they will pay if there is no merchant who will be having phone pay? Okay, so merchant onboarding was very important key activity for them. And the partnerships, they had a partnership with 40 plus banks. Okay, Flipkart, insurance companies, lending partners are there. So which through which they are creating a whole ecosystem of the fintech. Next case study is Razorpay. So the Razorpay, if you all know, and probably in case if you don't know, Razorpay is a payment gateway network. Okay, so they serve anybody who is a small business or startup or an individual who wants to accept payments online. Okay, even the enterprises. So unique value which what they offer is to have they have a simple API which can you can integrate within your system, your e-commerce website or Shopify or any kind of a e-commerce store you have or even a single landing page you have, just like PayPal. So they created a India version of PayPal. Okay, they have a simple API, multiple payment methods. The good thing about Razorpay was that PayPal was charges you a lot, and Razorpay started charging a very decent commission, very less commission in comparison to what the PayPal was charging. PayPal still charges more commission for Indian businesses in comparison to Razorpay. So, and there were more methods of payment available with Razorpay. So, like cards was the default method. Now the UPI, the wallets are what do we call as wallets? So Paytm and uh, Paytm is a kind of a wallet which is there. Okay, Paytm and PhonePe they are wallet models. So subscriptions, all of these are possible through Razorpay now. The smart move, what they did was not just payments, they also started providing banking now. So the small businesses now they can open a bank account using Razorpay and they also started lending. So like if you are a small business or you are a startup, you have operational funds or something where you need some help. So you can start open a bank account with Razorpay. Of course, the Razorpay in this case also they have the partnerships with banks because Razorpay is not a bank in itself right now. Okay, so they have back-end partnerships with different banks through which they manage the banking account through Razorpay as a tech platform. Okay, so that is something which they started. So they started managing the front end of the platform. They create a platform where they can give n number of services, make the whole uh, banking as a banking easier for the end user. And then they made certain things which were they observed that the startups and small enterprises they require certain things from the banks which is very difficult in the regular bank with the regular bank. So they started offering them and they started the lending. They made the lending easier. Okay, so they again for that same thing they partnered with different companies. Now Razorpay in itself has become a lot of they are a big venture now. So they themselves are doing this lending as well. So what is the impact? It's a small startup from Jaipur, and now the valuation of the startup is it's a unicorn, which is over $3 billion plus value, trusted by 5 million plus businesses. Uh, we ourselves accept payments using Razorpay from around the world. Okay, the next case study is Unacademy. Unacademy, I hope you all know, is an online platform which you can use to learn different, courses. You can subscribe to different courses online and learn through it. Online learning is provided. This kind of a model was launched by, so they are kind of a Coursera of India. Okay, so Coursera is a different platform, which is internationally recognized platform. But an academy provide a similar platform where that different teachers are there who are experts in their own fields, and then you can buy a course of a particular teacher, and you can directly go through that course. So they aggregated all the best of the teachers, and they helped them to create courses for them, and then they launched those courses. And they launched different programs which were from the best of the teachers. Okay, so value proposition was to launch an affordable course, quality learning, and to live doubt clearing plus community. So they have added a feature of community where you can talk to, you can discuss with different students, other students of the same course. And then there is a live doubt clearing where there is another a layer of teacher who is not a same teacher for whom you are who has designed that course, but somebody who has an expertise or an understanding about that course and subject and topic, but not the exact same teacher, but who he is that person is available for clearing your doubts. Okay, so that doubt clearing, live doubt clearing functionality is also there. The revenue model was free content. They started pushing the free content on YouTube. Then they have a freemium app where you can, if you're a free user, you can use the app as well to see the content, and you can buy a premium membership and use the paid content. You can see the paid content as well. Then they have also expanded into the different areas. Why and how could they? Because they have the right amount of audience and right segmentation of those audience has been done. So there are certain audience which is there's certain customer segment which is basically preparing for competitive examinations. There are people who are into the 30s and 40s, between 30s and 40s, who want to upgrade in their career. They are going for skill learning. Then there's a professionalization, basically, which is basically for the people who just finished their graduation. They want to do some professional courses and to excel, to get into the start of their career. So they segmented their different services into the different models based on their customer segmentation. The next case study is about cred. Uh, as I explained earlier, cred is a platform, is an app which basically helps you to do the card payments. Earlier, the card payments used to, you will have to remember it manually, and now cred basically what it does, it syncs with all of your with your emails and with your phone and all and devices, and it fetches data of all the cards and all which you have, which of course you have to verify that okay, you have all these cards. And then it uh, works out based on the communication which you get on the emails and SMS, that when is your next due date is coming and what is the amount you have to pay. So, and Cred then keeps you sending reminders for it. And another good thing about Cred is that it's an instant update. Like, normally what happens if you have to pay for your credit card, it updates, it takes a day or two to update with the bank. But with Cred, it updates at the same moment. If you are on the, even today is the last day of your bill payment, then somebody is paying at 11:30. So even at the night 11:30, it will be updated to that's it's paid on the same day, which is not otherwise the case. And they also added some, gamification into the whole thing where, they made it uh, quite interactive where you're paying, you're getting coins, you're getting rewards for that, and then you can utilize those coins to play more games inside the app. You can get more coins when you play, and then you get a cashback, exclusive deals. The deals are like, different products on which you get discounts. So they have partners with which they sell. So like if I have a product, I can go to credit. I can say that okay, I'm going to give you 30% discount on my product. You earn 10% commission. Give 20% discount further to your users. So this is kind of a thing what they have. So and the genius move. So if anybody who is using credit is somebody who is a high credit score user, of course, because otherwise you won't be having a credit card. Okay, because they're more likely to pay bills. And such kind of a person is a customer for a lot of people who want to sell something. Like if tomorrow there is a Mercedes Benz, okay, wants to advertise. So ideally, what they should do is they should approach cred and tell them, okay, target all the customers who are making payments of more than 50,000 per month. Okay, through you, who are paying the bill of more than 50,000 rupees in credit card per month. So some, it's a basically a very clear understanding, a correlation between who is the right customer audience and audience segmentation. So this can help them create a data which they can sell for a certain cost, and then they earn commission from banks and lenders as a partnership. At today, the valuation of credit is like $2 billion. So coming to the common pitfalls which we should avoid when we are developing a business model canvas. The first is vague customer segments. Okay, so everyone is not your customer. All SME are not your customer. You need to think. You need to go deeper. Define personas. If there is a particular industry, the whole industry cannot be your customer. There can be a particular segment which is your customer. Because if you're saying everyone is a customer, then you don't know what is your value proposition particularly. What is your exact service offering? Because everyone service you cannot. There can be a service which can be used by everyone. That's one case. Okay, but you cannot create a service for everyone, because then in that case you are not going to, you're not and that everyone is somebody, right? Because every service, every offering will be related to a pain area. Now the pain area will not be something which can be a part of everyone, but it's not something which is part of me, which is my pain area today. It could have been my pain area 5 years earlier. But today, it is my pain area or not, depends upon my age. So you need to define a persona. So it can be for everyone, but for certain age groups, for certain gender, for certain type of a person, or for certain behavioral kinds. So you need to define your customer segment very particularly and in depth. Second point is weak value proposition. Your value proposition needs to be highly solid, identified, and with very specific. Don't make generic statements. Like, where we will give you very good quality ice cream. There is nothing like a good quality ice cream. Okay. So what you can say that, okay, we'll give you a naturally 100% natural ice cream made using these particular ingredients without sugar, made from uh, you know 100% botanical extracts of sugar or stevia or something like that. Okay, so make it specific. The more specific words and terminologies and more specific statement you will create in your value proposition, the more pain area you are going to target. And which means that you have done a thorough study of your customer segment, and a thorough, proper value proposition has been developed for that particular pain area. And the third most important part is the missing numbers. Okay, no actual data, just wishes. So no actual data means they are only dreams. You just wish them. So you need to work closely on what two areas, as I said, your cost and the pricing. Both of these are very important. Okay. You need to first reverse understand the costing, and then you need to build the pricing around it. And for that, never ever miss on anything that, okay, uh, don't discount yourself. When you are putting up any number, never discount yourself. Not put up a number which is, on the lower side. Always go on a 1.10% extra. Always take up an extra padding whenever you are doing the costing of your product. Costing matlab, when you are picking up, when you are calculating a cost of how much that product development is going to be for you, put every cost into it, because when you will be executing the thing, you will be seeing that there are n number of overheads coming up, and if you don't put if you have not calculated a extra padding, or you have not taken up an extra baggage of 10% and 20% from the starting, then later on you will be able to suffice into your cost calculations and operations, and it will become very difficult for you to operate at certain number of months. So that is something which you need to take care of. And some common pitfalls are like overcomplicating. Don't So when I'm saying you need to go deeper, I'm not saying go into a detail like where you are diverting and diversifying from the 9 key elements. Remember that you have to keep your focus around those 9 elements. You just need to find out the answers for the 9 elements which you are talking about. That's it. Don't overcomplicate. Don't think that what ignoring cost structure is something. Again, you can't have sustainable business without understanding cost. As I said earlier, it's that cost structure is something which you need to be very, very particular about. Do not discount. In fact, take an extra cushion on the cost. So if you think that your cost is coming 100, take it as a 1.110. It will always help you in having a right pricing, and design a pricing where you see anything can be sold. The point is whether you are targeting a right person with the right product or not. If you are solving a pain area of the right person with the right product, then the person will definitely buy. If the pricing will be right, and how you will define the right pricing, of course, the pricing should meet your cost. Of course, that's the first thing, because you will not sell it on. If you are going to sell it, you can only sell it when if you are if you're making losses. So that's again a strategy which a lot of startups do, but they only take that strategy and they use that cost as a markup cost or as a marketing cost, and when they are highly funded with the VCs. But I don't agree to that strategy as such. It's only an evaluation game. If you have to create a business as a pure business, always bootstrap. Always think of the cost. Keep a cushion of an 1.1x instead of 1. Okay, so that you always have that 10% extra cushion wherever the overheads are coming up. You can use that 10% for those overheads. Okay, missing present and future is something which you should avoid when you're developing a business model canvas. Do not develop it for future. Okay, for as I said, you can revise it. Okay, think of it what you are doing it for today, and then sit again next month. You may have certain new ideas, new things in your mind. Update it. Create multiple versions of BMC. That's fine. Okay, version 1 with this idea, version 2 with this idea, version 3 with that idea. Create different versions, and that versioning is important as well, so that you have the clear and better understanding every month that how you are moving with the product, and how well the whole structure is happening, and the product is moving up. And then not connecting the dots. So all of your 9 elements should be talking to each other. Okay, they should link to each other. There should not be any gap between these 9 elements. Okay, the 5 elements are fine, but the 4 elements are like they don't talk to the rest of the 5. It shouldn't be like that. Okay, treating as one time. And I have already explained this, that your canvas is not something. It's a live thing. You need to update it. This uh, you can do it quarterly, but it will be better if you do it monthly. Okay, no team alignment. This is again very important because you can't do this without a team. You're not alone. Without a team, you cannot execute the whole thing. Okay. So build a team, make a team, align your team with your BMC, your business model canvas, ask their ideas, brainstorm on different aspect of it, and then develop a better model. So there are few free tools which are there, which you can use to create canvas. One of them is a Miro. Miro is a brainstorming tool which you can use to, you can create infinite canvas there. Real-time collaboration is there. There are a lot of business model canvas templates which are ready to go over there. Another one is the FigJam and Figma. Again, the similar tool. A little bit difficult to use, and there are a lot of free community templates available there as well. Then there's a Google Sheets, which basically has certain good free shareable. I'll also give you, I'll share with Sarika the link of a BMC template for you guys to understand and use it. And in the next workshop, what we'll do is we'll develop a BMC and and few of you can, do let's do one thing. Uh, Sarika, will it be possible that the students can work out on this BMC and then we can discuss the BMC in the next session?
Yeah, so next is open house where we can have this practice. So open
Yeah.
house is basically open discussion. If students have any query or you might have any revisions regarding what you taught them today. So yeah,
Mhm.
we can do it in open house.
Okay, so I'll just share the link of some templates that they can download and they can use, and
Okay.
then they can develop they can use and develop some of the business model if they whatever whoever can do that, that will be perfectly fine. It
Mm-hmm.
will be better that we can discuss them in the live, that somebody has any X idea what how they are going to present it.
But I am afraid that some of the student might have their exams, currently ongoing exams and
Okay.
practicals. So that I need to check with the students. Students, could you please confirm if any one of you have already ongoing exams or maybe practicals or something like that engagement in your college? Or are you able to do that in the open house? Are you able to present? Kedar, you want to say something?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
We are not having any exams in January,
Acha, okay.
and yes, ma'am. And we will present the business model in the next open house session.
Okay,
Great,
perfect,
great,
perfect. So I'm sure there are other students as well who can do the same practice. So let's do it for the keep it for the open house only. Yeah,
great. So,
yeah.
we have like 15 minutes left. I'll quickly move on. Just move for more free tools like Canva and WordMix, which you can use it. I'll share this whole PPT. This gets shared with the recording also gets shared, right? Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
This is
then
going.
there's no problem. So they can see the recording. They can see the whole thing. If you required, I can share the PPT as well. Okay, I'll send the PDF of the complete setup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so how you are going to fill the canvas, the order matters. So from where to start? So the right side is the first thing where you need to start. The customer focus, the element one. So start from the customer segments, then value proposition, and then the revenue side of it. That how much, and basically this is something which you need to work on first. Okay. And then the left side, which is operations, which basically, what are the inputs required? Because for customer segments, uh, you may be, jumping from one to other in this case when you are working on the whole canvas. But to starting point will always be the customer. Okay, to understand the create a customer segment, understanding the pain area and all, and then to create a value proposition. These two will be your starting points always. Okay, revenue, what will be the pricing and all, whether you want to use that as the next step or you want to calculate it later on, that is something which I will keep open. That is something, a lot of people who will jump from it, maybe changing it once again, then when they will work out, because you may think that okay, my pricing can be 100 rupees, but when you are working on the costing, the pricing doesn't match it. Okay, you will probably have to increase it or decrease it. Or maybe you can see that, okay, there are a lot of competitors in the market who are selling it at 80 rupees. Then you will have to work around on the key resources on the different areas. So that is something which you need, which you will always be jumping from here or there. You only need to work around. The important thing is that you have to start from the customer segment and value proposition. Okay. Then you can fill in the rest of the things. You can brainstorm on the key resources, activities, partnerships. The bottom line cost, which is the cost structure, is something which you can think about as the last. But yes, in many ways, the cost structure is something which defines the price as well. Okay. So again, as I said, that there will be a lot of jumping from to and fro. But uh, to start with, if the customer segmentation and the value proposition is something which is very clear, then you will be able to finalize everything very easy. So, and when to revisit your canvas? So, although I suggest that to revisit your canvas every month till you are in the stage which you guys are right now, because that's going to give you a clear, better understanding, and to update your resources and the whole business model every month. Although, but with standards, we suggest that whenever you feel that there is uh, the customer segmentation is becoming too broad, okay, and you need to narrow it down, then it means that you need to revisit your canvas. Or when the value proposition is not matching your customer needs, because uh, due to change in technology, due to change in a lot of factors, this can happen. Okay, so you can talk to actual customers, you can talk to people, you can take different tools. You can do the research online and find out what is not matching and what are you going to do in that case. Or you may have to develop a new value proposition in that case. Third case can be when the revenue model is becoming unclear. So if you initially started with a revenue model which is not valid today, then what you are going to do? So you need to revisit again your canvas, and you need to create a new value model, a new value, uh, maybe a new value proposition needs to be added up, which can give you a new or better revenue model. Okay. Then comes the cost structure missing details. So cost structure missing details is something, you probably with time, what may happen is that your marketing costs or your operational expenses becomes too high, and you have not earlier it was like only a 10%, which later on become 15 or 20%. Okay, and you did not account it into your revenue for the same. So that is eating up your profits. So that does not happen. And if that is something which is happening, we need to again revisit the canvas, and we need to align the complete pricing and as per the cost structure. Any questions? Okay. So once you're done developing the business model canvas, share it with your mentors, visitors, investors, experienced founders for feedback. Which is why I wanted to, if you guys can work on some of the BMCs, we can do that work upon and discussions in the coming session, so that we have a fair enough idea coming out of it. So week 2 to 4 is test key assumptions, where you talk to 20-30 potential customers, the real people, uh, and understand their view about So you basically you are actually going through a test phase where you are actually the assumptions which you have made, what is the gap, whether you assume something, okay, this value proposition fits into this pain area, but whether it actually does or not, we can get that idea by talking to the actual potential customers. And the month two is to update that canvas based on what of it learnings, learnings which can be different in terms of the operations, in terms of customers, in terms of communications. All of those learnings, whatever you are taking up, update it, and then review and iterate as your business evolves. You can do it quarterly, you can do it monthly as well. Till you are very small, do it monthly. When the revenue size is getting better, when you start making some of the revenue, do it quarterly. When you're doing a enough revenue, you can do it in in 6 months or a yearly basis as well. Or as I shared in the last slide, whenever you feel there is a gap in any of the areas. So what makes a winning business model? Clear customer insight. You need to have a very deep understanding about a specific customer's pain point. Defensible value, you and not a competitor. Why you? What is the USP? What is your unique selling point? That is basically a defensible value. So next is the unit economics that works. So basically your pricing, revenue per customer and cost to acquire. So your revenue should be greater than the cost to acquire customer. Okay. Scalability. Oh, what is the scale? Whether if you are making and doing a business which can only have 100 customers, you cannot grow beyond 100 or 1,000, and there is a problem because you can't attract an investor in that case. Okay. So what is the scalability and how you will scale it? Maybe you can add certain different, you can add the different models to it, different pain areas, different value propositions. That is something which you need to think from the scalability perspective. And then the adaptability, which is, market feedback. What is the new thing which is coming, which is the new thing which is happening in the market? Not just the feedback which you have to go and ask people, but there are different feedbacks which you need to absorb. What is happening in the world, in the new technology side of it, worldwide, because we are living in a global village as on date. Anything, whatever happens in US tomorrow today, comes to India tomorrow. Okay, or maybe it's the same day. So tech is something which is like global. Everything is available everywhere in the world. Okay, so adaptability needs to be. You need to keep your eyes and ears open of what is happening around you, so that you add the right you add the right USPs or you can work out on the pricing or whatever the 9 key elements are needs to be tweaked upon. You can tweak that particular element, and you can make the things better in the business model. So innovation and optimization is something which whenever you are doing, particularly in case of startups, uh, the two areas are innovation and optimization. So you need to innovate something. So if a service is already there, if a proposition is already there, what is new? What is that newness you are bringing into that service is very important to understand. Okay, so you need to create a right product market fit with the validated core assumptions, and which should also get a customer traction. So that's a part of the innovation which you need to bring in, and that innovation needs to be communicated as well to the customer. Because that anyway, if that innovation is not getting communicated to the customer, then you're not going to create a product which can be easily adapted by the user. And then you have to optimize it. Continuously put efforts to mm, make your services efficient, your processes efficient, so that you can reduce on cost. Bring automations into the so that you can adapt to scale. Instead of serving 200 customers, you can serve to 1,000 customers using automations, using AI. There are a lot of things which can you optimize. So, based on the business model evaluation, there's validation thing, then finding the PMF, which is basically the right build for the segment that loves you most. Okay, and then scaling, optimizing, which works, replicates across segments and geographies. You can because otherwise, if you can optimize, you can scale, and then you have to diversify, creating new revenue streams, new markets. So this is an hypothetical situation where, like, you're creating an app connecting local coaches to students for one-on-one mentoring, something like what lot of there are some cases, something similar to an academy, but on a different note. Okay, so your customer is college students wanting career guidance. Value proposition is affordable mentoring from successful professionals, not like coaching centers. Now the revenue will be the commission which you will get on each session. Okay, which you can have a 50-50 split, or depending upon how you're going to figure it out. And the key activity will be the vetting coaches. You need to vet coaches. You need to find out the right uh, coaches, right professionals who are the best match for that particular program. And then the matching the algorithm. Cost will be the app development, marketing, payment processing fees, and all of that. So roughly, this is a very rough understanding, which you can divide these into the right elements, and then you can define all the rest of the elements as well based on this, and keep on uh, defining further and further your business model canvas. And why it is called as a canvas? Because canvas has no ending point. Okay, you can expand it as much as you want. Okay, so that is something which is very important. And what are the critical questions your canvas should answer? Why a customer choose you over existing solution? So the USP should be clear. How will you acquire the first 100 customers cost effectively? Means that what will be your marketing and outreach thing, like the channels. Okay. What is your path to profitability? Not just growth. Path to profitability means your costing and your cost infra cost has to be very clearly defined. Assumptions are riskiest. What assumptions are riskiest and need validation first? So if you are assuming something, you need to first get the validation for that. Okay. So that is also very important thing to understand. And does your model change if customer acquisition costs 2 times more? So is your model good enough? For example, you think that okay, it will take me 20 rupees to get a new customer, but it is taking 40 rupees. Whether your model is also sustainable in case the acquire cost to acquire a customer is 40 rupees instead of 20. Are you going to make the money even then or not? So just think about these answers, and one should be having a clear understanding of these answers when you are preparing a business model. So it's a tool for clarity, not a business plan. Business plan is definitely a very big plan, because in business plan you need to define each and every aspect of from the money perspective as well. Uh, but a business plan is something which normally is not required by a lot of people, because BMC covers everything. Okay, and the whole ideation of the from the investor's point of view, BMC has everything which is needed to take a proper understanding of the business. Okay, start with customer segments and value propositions. Real Indian startups succeeded by solving specific customer problems. So that is again something where you need to start. The first canvas won't be perfect. Iterate based on customer feedback. You can create a custom, BMC, you create a canvas, but when you think from that perspective, whatever USPs and all you have created, the value offerings, go and talk to your customer that whether this is going to make sense to that particular segment of audience or not, and take that feedback and make corrections into your business model. Use free tools, like of course the free tools, which I'll give you the links for these free tools as well, and Sarika will be sharing them with you. So I'll send them across in the email. Next is that in the uh, next coming up model, what we'll do is you have to bring your startup idea. The best would be that you guys can just define some of the BSP, or you can design the BMCs, and we can discuss them. Or you come with a 3 or 4 customer problems you're solving. Be ready to validate your assumptions. And I believe all of these, if you just make sure that these 4 things are there, so that we can collaborate on some of the business model, and we can discuss how this is going to work. So these are the links which I will be sharing as well. For the free PDF, you can go to Strategizer, which is where you can find our original BMC template. Okay. For online collaboration, you can use Miro. for design templates, you can use Figma, but you don't need it. If you're using online collaboration, Miro is good enough. There is one guy called as Alexander Kovans. Alexander Coven has also developed some business model templates, which is the same BMC template. And they are, you can go to his website and there's a lot of useful information which you can study there as well. And you can search on Google the Indian startup business models for having that understanding where you can, find out certain business models like what we have studied today. So, students, I believe that the session was good enough for you. And if there are still any questions, please.
Surely it was a great session, Mr. Golan. It would be great if you can go to the previous slide and student can take a screenshot of those links if
Yeah, yeah.
possible. Yeah, students, whoever wants to take the screenshot, it would be beneficial for you as well. And yes, of course, if you have any queries, any remarks, anything, so you can share it with Mr. Goyal. Anything related to your startup, queries, anything? All right, I think no review so far, but I'm sure